Welcome to Game 1, ladies and gentlemen, here at the WCG2013 in Kunshan, China. Starting to the bottom left of the map, we have our first Zerg player here. This is, of course, Soulkey, and he had really a very, very good run at the tournament so far. He's going up against a fellow Zerg player, starting to the top right here in the quarterfinal, our first map. And this is Sen from Taiwan. So Korea versus Taiwan, and both players are actually great players in Zerg versus Zerg. I'm Caldo, with me is Moonglade. What do you think can we expect on this map in particular in the ZVZ now?
Well, this map, it's quite a bit of a distance to each other's main base, so it's less likely that an Overlord will actually get to scout the main and kind of scout the build order. So on this map especially, you'll see a lot of kind of like gasless expansions into roaches. That's a very popular strategy, and I think both players tend to do it time and time again. So, but also you can be very aggressive and go for a gas build, of course, but it's very safe to say it'll be a hatchery first. Be surprised if they don't do that.
The one thing that really stands out for me in this game is that we have with Sen a player who is dominating in Taiwan, who is really, really strong, especially in the Zerg versus Zerg matchup, going up against Korean player. And we usually don't really see Sen all that often against Koreans. He, of course, faced a few of them in various tournaments where he participated, but in Heart of the Swarm, he was a bit more restricted to like Taiwan in general. And there, he has such a nice record. I mean, with only 34 maps played, he won 25 of them. That leaves him with a 73% win record, which is crazy in any matchup. And then he goes up against someone like Soulkey that we've seen time and time again in international tournaments, doing well in Korea and WCS, who has also like a lot of maps played, 43 in total. And he has a 67% win rate. So both of them with a really nice record in the Zerg versus Zerg, and them going up against each other, coming from different regions. It's going to be interesting to see how those styles collide.
That's right, and Sen, of course, would be just about always practicing on the Korean server, so he might even run into Soulkey a few times in his laddering. So, you know, they might have a bit of history together. You know, it's hard to say, and it looks like we are going to get a gasless from Sen, so and a gas from Soulkey. So it's going to be a bit of aggression, or has to kind of put on some aggression from Soulkey to kind of stop a third base going up and keep Sen really controlled.
And that's also a little bit his style. I mean, as mentioned before, he was already up against like one player from Taiwan earlier against Ian, who also made it out of the group stage. And against him, he dropped the map. You already said earlier in the game that we have with Sen basically the next level of play in Taiwan. Right. And that's definitely true. So Soulkey, I don't want to really say that he struggled here a little bit, but if you look at his history and especially at his dominance that we saw in Korea for a long time, you would expect him to really take those matches in the group stage at least with a 2-0.
Absolutely.
So I really want to see how Sen is going to play this, because I personally feel that Soulkey will have a little bit of a tougher time reading Sen, since there's not that much material of Sen out there if you don't follow the Taiwanese scene really closely. Whereas Soulkey is just playing so much, and it's so visible with VODs of WCS being around everywhere.
Absolutely right. It's there's so many matches of Soulkey out there, and yeah, Sen has been keeping quiet for quite a while. He hasn't really done many foreign tournaments. This is probably his first one in quite a few months. And the Taiwanese scene is kind of closed off, I guess, to everyone else around the world.
Yeah, the only game that I could actually find in the recent past where Sen was playing against a Korean player, against a Korean Zerg player, was a tournament in Hong Kong just a few months back. It was in August when he lost against King Kong. So here at WCG, he already won against a Zerg with a 2-0, taking down live Zerg, and that definitely, of course, gives him a good amount of momentum going into this. But I feel for Sen, it's going to be a really tough match. Yes, Soulkey maybe not have the information about his opponent that he would like to have, but he's still the favorite player in this series, I'd say.
Absolutely right, and Sen got a huge scout off, seeing exactly what was going on. He saw that he was researching Zergling speed, and that he was still mining gas with at least one drone, so the potential for aggression is there. But we're going to have to wait and see if Soulkey makes a move.
Yeah, at this point, Sen's is taking his own gas, and of course the Zergling's rushing into the main base right now. Soulkey just wants to find out what exactly is going on here. And the Zergling actually, just dies, doesn't see the second gas in the main base. So he saw that there was one gas at the natural, but he missed the second one, actually.
Missed the second, but he did see those extra queens at the front, which is very safe assumption that it was a gasless opening into a double gas at the natural. So he knows kind of he's got the Zergling speed advantage. He's got he can pressure the map, he can control the map, he can take a faster third and go into roaches or mutalisks depending on what his style is.
How do you like the trends or the opening with mutalisks now that we had in one of the patches a few months back? Of course, a huge change through the spore crawlers. Was it kind of trying to shut down this mass mutalisk play that we had for a long time?
Yeah, you definitely see it a lot less these days. I mean, if the third gets up for the Zerg that didn't go mutalisk and he puts down a couple of spores, it's pretty much immune to to release mutas for until they get like a huge flock and can really one-shot a spore.
Do you think it's still a valid opening to go into the
I think
Mutalist?
it's still a valid opening, but it entirely depends on cancelling that third base and stopping creep from getting to that third base, because you cannot let a spore get up. Otherwise, it's just, you have absolutely no hope of defending.
One of the things that I was actually missing a little bit, or that was really interesting to see, is that we do not see a lot of players building spore crawls and walking them over to the third base to secure it immediately.
Yep.
Do you think that's... Why do you think that is?
That's a really good question. They should be doing it. Maybe they're just not confident enough that the opponent is going Mutalisks.
Oh.
Maybe he needs some visual... he needs to see it visually to kind of get a grasp on it. And it looks like Sen's actually massing Zerglings with speed, so he's going to try and cancel that third base from Soulkey.
Yeah.
And take his.
We're going into the 1-1 upgrades, as does Soulkey right now, just trying to get the upgrades for the Roaches. But of course, as you just mentioned, with the Zerglings in the game, he wants to have that map dominance and really go down on that third. We had Soulkey pressuring a little bit, but the wall for Sen was perfect. And with the wall there, Soulkey didn't get any scouting information. And suddenly he's faced with all those Lings streaming across the map, and it's going to be pretty difficult for Soulkey to defend against this. Even with the first few Roaches that he's building, he will most likely have to cancel this third here.
And that's going to be absolutely huge cancel for Sen. This is actually going to put him really ahead.
Oh, wow.
It's going to die, and that's a lot of wasted minerals.
I'm not really sure if that was worth it. He killed a couple of Zerglings there for sure. Oh, but wow, he traps them against the corner.
Alright.
And now it's probably a trade well worth it here for Soulkey, actually.
That definitely made it worth it. He's going to simply just run to the third of Sen and just cancel it, and there's pretty much no defense whatsoever.
That was so huge. It looked great for Sen, taking down that third base, Soulkey not even cancelling it. But then I feel he just right-clicked to his own base and didn't really pay attention to the Zerglings anymore.
He wasn't really watching carefully enough, and those Zerglings got a perfect surround.
Yeah, and here now, of course, the cancel for Sen. That's what we have to see here. The Queens are trying to move in. Even the Roach is coming into play now, but it's already too late. The Lings are so mobile and they're trying to get into the main, but there's already a block at the top. Could have actually gotten in there, but he didn't see the Queen, the Soul Queen that was trying to defend the gap.
That's right, and pretty much both third bases reset to start building again, so it's still an even game, essentially. I mean, Sen has quite a bank, and he isn't really spending it right now, but he should be ahead in supply very soon. A lot of Roaches already out on the map.
We have for Soulkey now also a bit of a lead in the upgrades. He's already on 1-1, but he doesn't really capitalize on it by getting the 2-2 out there. He was also not able to really force a fight on the upgrades, so Sen is going to be able to just catch up with his opponent and make sure that they will fight on even footing. There we have the +2 attack upgrade now coming out for Soulkey.
+2 very important in Roach versus Roach fights. It really makes a difference in how fast Roaches kill each other, and it's really an upgrade you want to base a lot of timings off.
And the Queens, of course, shutting down the Overlords, just trying to make sure that their opponent is as blind as possible. And now suddenly the Lings running into the base, taking down the Queens, and that's huge. That's really going to mess with your inject. But he got the inject off after all, so the Queen, if he builds one right away, he's not going to lose too much time there.
That's right. It looks like he's going to lose a couple drones in the main too. Kind of just waste some time, kind of get a perfect scout on the Roach numbers, and kind of get an idea of what Sen is planning.
We have also a very nice touch here with Soulkey going into the burrow movement for his Roaches.
I love that.
He will just capitalize on that extra speed. That is one of the new additions that we see to the game. Like, how much does that really come into play in Zerg versus Zerg, in your opinion?
It can be absolutely great harassment. I mean, the Roach movement speed is so fast now that like it can definitely be an annoying factor if it gets to that stage.
And of course, both of them just trying to go down on that third base a little bit. At this point, it's all about the extra gas at those bases. Just making sure that... Oh, we have even the transition now coming out of Sen here first, going into a Hydra den. And both of them starting with a +2/+2. We have in total actually Sen a little bit ahead of his opponent. Not in the attack upgrade, but if you figure armor in 2. Nice contaminate there. And I love actually seeing this. Like, this is such a nice touch, seeing the Overseers going in, contaminate, delaying the upgrades a little bit. And that can win you a game.
That can definitely win you a game. And it can really help out in a timing attack. If you are delaying their like +2 attack, for instance, and you attack the moment it's yours is finished and theirs isn't, you can just win it right there.
Bailingness now also for Soulkey, just having something against those huge amount of Roaches.
That's very
and of course against the Hydralists later on as well. If you get those Bailings into the Hydras, that's basically a win right there.
Roach Bailing is very effective against the Roach Hydra combination. And Roach Hydra is a very popular combination at the moment. You never usually see Roach infested that much, unless Mutas were out in the map.
And now we have the Roaches coming into play. That burrow upgrade really going to work here, splitting the forces off immediately, setting a few of them into the third base, the rest to the natural in the main base as well. And Sen has no idea, he's just waiting there, and that's going to do so much damage. Here they come, immediately trying to snipe the queens. If he gets all 3 queens, that would be massive. And he gets the one on the main base. He already has the one at the third base going to work at all those drones now. And this is horrible for Sen. He's losing Harvesters here. He suddenly has to go back into his base, has to defend, and we still have the Roaches in position. He needs Overseers now.
And he's lost so many drones at that third base. This is really, really detrimental. And he can actually get these Roaches out of here now because they move just that fast.
He's just in total control of the map at this point, and that is awesome for him. He started his speed upgrade for the Banelings as well. That's going to help him so much, using those Banelings to take down the Hydralisks, lay down. His 2-2 is nearly completed already. Sense was a little bit delayed with the Contaminate. Not necessarily coming to play here right now, because we have them both on 2-2 in just a few seconds. But this burrow movement upgrade was just so worth it for him already,
Absolutely,
and he's still using it here.
And he's got a perfect scout on the composition of what Sen has, and he knows exactly what he's doing is the right move. Massing Banelings, massing Roaches. And the moment Sen moves out, whether he decides to make a counterattack now that he's taken so much damage or not, Soulkey is ready for it, and he just needs to start morphing Banelings and pretty much attack.
In Soulkey's position, would you go straight for the attack right now? What would you actually do? He has the Banelings ready, the speed upgrade is there, the 2-2 completed. What would be your next move?
I think it's time to attack. I mean, I think you've done enough damage. The moment that Baneling speed is finished, you just kind of have to hide them until the right moment, and then a surprise attack, and you just aim for the clumps of Roaches and Hydras, and you just do so much damage. And there's really just no way to deal with it without Fungal.
Yeah. He's already posturing around with the Roaches here, and we have a massive amount of Spore Crawlers going up. He wants to go above 200 supply, I guess. And there we go, goes for the cancel. Love it, haven't seen that in quite some time. 211 supply for him immediately. But here comes Soulkey now, moving against those Hydras. Where are the Banelings? Banelings trying to flank here, going in from the side and just taking out so many of the Roaches. Both of them with 2-2 upgrades already, and the supply is dropping for both of them immediately. We have a couple of Banelings morphing for his opponent. Zen is trying to get his own into the game, but it might already be too late. He's dropping into supply way too fast. He needs to get those Banelings in, and here they come, taking down so many of the Roaches of his opponent, and both of them dropping even more. The army supply much better here right now for Zen because of the defender's advantage. But once again, the burrow upgrade coming to play, healing the Roaches up to full health.
That's right, and the Remax is coming for Soulkey, and it is a huge Remax. It's 40 supply up on Sen right now.
You can actually see that Sen still has money. He has a lava problem, and that's because all those queens were sniped earlier. He really didn't get that bank in lava that he needed. He's desperately trying to get units into the game right now. The Hydralisk landing the DPS, of course, with the composition, and still so many Banelings alive here for Sen that he's trying to get into this huge chunk of Roaches, getting a couple of decent hits off here, but it might already be too late.
Those Roaches actually took a whole lot of damage and might not be enough to end this game. The Remax from Sen is obviously going to come very soon. The supplies aren't as far apart as they used to be, but he's going to have to wait for those Roaches to pop before he can really fight this army again.
Yeah, as long as he can use those Spine Crawlers and also keep the Hydralisks alive, he has a huge amount of DPS that he can dish out. And the only option that Soulkey has is going into more Roaches. And as soon as Sen has a full army again, I feel that he's going to have the upper hand here. Especially since there's not enough resources left for Soulkey anymore to really get those Banelings into the game.
That's right, but it's, as you said before, it looks like it is a lava problem still. I mean, he's still got so much money, he just can't spend it.
I feel like taking down those queens earlier was a huge win for Soulkey, and Sen is still struggling to do anything against it. He has his own burrow upgrade right now. That might help him to rescue just a few of the units, but he's still down in supply. He's closing the gap on the other hand, and he has now this composition. If those Hydralisks come out, he has really a very, very good weapon at his disposal that he can finally fight off those Roaches. That's exactly what he does. Sen holds here.
Sen holds for now, but maybe if Soulkey decides to just regroup, make some more Banelings, he's still got the composition advantage against this army. He just needs to not press too hard.
Oh, but he is moving in once again. The Hydra's going to work. Soulkey feels he can't take this, but Sen has enough to defend, and even more units are just streaming in to make sure that his reinforcements are not going to be overpowered. Really good job. And here we see, of course, the injects for Soulkey. Every single queen low in energy. He's doing a great job with that. But both of them are starting to mine out in their main base.
That's right, and as you saw, more Zerglings being made for Soulkey, so he's going to go back into the Roach Baneling composition and try and deal with this Roach Hydra.
Wrong waypoint here. Few of the Roaches of Soulkey are just streaming to the top right, picked off by Sen. We see now at the bottom right, still cool, calm, and collected. Fourth base coming up for Soulkey now as well. Time to expand, not pushing the issue anymore.
No, I think it's pretty safe to say that he can stabilize from here, and I think the best choice for Sen would be to go into Infestors, try and survive until Infestors, and then he can really deal with that composition of Roach Baneling.
Yeah,
pretty much just crush it.
You get those fungals up against the Banelings, I mean, they're not going to do anything
They
at
will
all. So
never do anything.
that would be amazing for him. But he wants to get his 4th base up first. And he might be able to get that 4th, but the tech, of course, would be great for him now, now that he knows what Soulkey is up to.
Well, it looks like Sen is actually just going to go for an attack. He's almost maxed out right now, and he's really ahead in supply. And it's just going to be a matter of spreading as best as he possibly can without still having a good arc and still doing damage to these roaches.
In the first fight, you could definitely see that he was very surprised by all those Banelings. He probably didn't expect this many to just run in there, and he had everything clumped up. So with a good spread, he could do a lot here.
That's right, that's right. Especially if he attacks soon, he still has the population advantage.
Well, he is moving across the map, or at least thinking about it. Moved into the middle just there for a second. The 4th base for Soulkey is already completed. For Sen, we have the same thing, using the oversupply trick once again, cancelling a couple of buildings, and then going up to 206.
And still no infestation pit or anything for either player, so they really set in their ways for now. Really want to go for a massive roach Baneling war.
And we have Sen setting everything up so that he can immediately just remax. He doesn't really want to fight in that position though, but the Baneling's a bit out of position there. Trying to move in.
This is not a good position for Sen.
He's really up against the rock and a hard place right now. We have all those roaches of Soulkey just streaming in, and Sen is trying to battle his way through, even reinforcing immediately. The burrow upgrade once again used beautifully by Soulkey. Sen without detection now finally bringing the Overseer in and chasing those roaches away, but he's already lost so much. They're still at the same amount of supply, but the reinforcements for Sen just are not here yet.
And Soulkey's going to really have to be careful of the remax from Sen. He can't stick around here for too long. He's going to have to kind of identify the timing of how long he's got until Roach is made, and he's just going to have to run.
It really looks like he's overwhelming here, and as you already said, he moved in, took down even more units, and now he's moving back once again, trying to save his units, and this speed upgrade, it just helps so much.
It's
the recent
so
patch
fast
that Blizzard executed here, it helps so much at saving your Roaches. That Overseer had no chance of catching up in time.
Absolutely. And it looks like the remax has come for Soulkey, so he's going to try and fight again, but those 3 Hydras at the back are actually going to do so much damage and might even give this fight to Sen once again.
Well, Sen is really down the Roach numbers on the other hand. The Hydral is definitely a nice touch to the army composition here, but maybe not enough of them. We have so many Roaches rallied across the map to the top right. A 40 supply advantage at this point for Soulkey, and it looks like he wants to finally push through here. Takes on Roach after Roach, tries to muscle his way up the ramp. The Hydralists have no chance without any Roach support any longer, and he could even just go for a snipe on the Roach farm.
That's it, and that's pretty much the game-ending move right there. If he loses that Roach farm, there's just simply nothing he can make that'll defeat this army. But it looks like Soulkey just going to enjoy killing all the remax, and
GG. Game 1 goes to Soulkey, wins the game on Relic Watcher here.